talking too much should not get into the real estate conversation if you're an agent.
I'm going to go through a few, if that's okay, Bill. There's a couple things that every real estate agent needs to kind of understand as they start a real estate transaction. And the number one thing they have to have is confidence. They have to be confident in everything they do. And to do that, it requires some study all the time. Then we manage emotions because, trust me, this is the most expensive transaction most people will ever have in their life. And they can get emotional. And we as a real estate agent need to manage those emotions. And then lastly, that I like to emphasize is listening. We need to listen to our clients so we can formulate what does our client really want. And that's where talking too much gets into a real estate agent. They're trying to show a house. If they talk too much, they don't get a chance to listen to what their client really wants. And the key, once you hear what the client really wants, then you can find their house much easier than if you're talking all the time, you're not sure what they really want. They may not have liked that kitchen while you were talking about it.
I always think that the woman that is on the journey with you, her eyes are going to tell the story. She likes that kitchen or not.
Oh, yes, they do. And you can usually read it. And you can read the husband's eyes, too, when he sees the garage.
Or the cave,
or the man cave. Yeah,
yes.
You can see that there's positives in each one. But as a real estate agent, you've got to take and formulate when the eyes light up and when they don't, to modify to say. So if I take the kitchen from this house, the living room from this house, and the master bedroom, I'm going to have the house, right? Yes.
One of the things that we learned was one word that came out, I think it was the second week that I took a Saturday to do it, and that is the word but. When an agent uses the word but, that kind of negates a lot of things.
That's correct. Notice I use that's correct rather than but.
Thank you.
When you're talking to people, our common tendency, and if you do this in normal life, through a day, just count the number of times you've said but. Because when somebody tells me something and I say but, I'm also telling them they're not quite right. This is a little bit better. And we try and keep that out of the real estate transaction because we don't want to be sounding like we're contradicting our client all the time. So try and move out of the word but to some other kind of way to respond. The big thing I would tell you is everybody should count the number of times they use but.
Yes, I agree.
But when you say it like that, then all of a sudden now, every time we have this conversation, now you are going to count. You know, when you bring it up and bring it to light, then all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, we're not going to use that word anymore, you know.
I'm going to point out one thing. To start his last sentence, he used the word but.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
All right, well.
All right, I'm not going to use the word but.
I'm human, so. But see, I just said but too. There you go. To this point.
No extra charge.
When you're talking to your clients, it's more about asking questions.
It is.
Because what you're trying to do is you're just trying to draw out, their likes, dislikes. And sometimes people are trying to be polite, and so they don't want to say anything. And it's like, really, to get to the meat of the matter, I mean, this is an important deal. It's an important transaction. And you want to make sure that everything, will fit, or they can make sense of the things that don't seem to make, that don't fit what they're looking for. Because you may have 10 things that you really want in a home, but if we can find you 7, you can deal with the other 3.
You had 14 in class Saturday, I think.
Correct.
Or 15. And we got to talking about communities and legal bedrooms. And that brought up a whole conversation that what you see in Sioux Falls may not be in Canton, may not be in Wentworth, might be Rutland, whatever it is. There's a difference.
Yeah. What we have to understand is every city has their own building codes and requirements. Some are less than others. In Sioux Falls, what a bedroom is defined. And, basements have to be framed and insulated in Sioux Falls on a new construction home. Whereas in Canton, Del Rapids, even Brandon, some of these others have not adopted the same building codes, so the requirements may be less there. And it could be anything from not requiring an egress window in the basement to only requiring an electrical inspection for the house. So it varies all across the state of South Dakota.
Mid-American will come out with gas smells, no charge.
Correct. They'll come out. If you think you smell gas, you can call them, and they'll come out and try and find if you have a leak. Just remembering, they find the leak, then they may tag the house, and you're going to have to get a plumber in there to fix it fairly quickly.
Assumable loans, something to look at, particularly if you're a veteran.
Yes. Right now, interest rates are low. I mean, I just saw a printout today of for FHA and VA loans, the interest rate is 3% for a 30-year loan. 3%, I don't know if we can ever see anything lower than that. And I bought a house when interest rates were 18%, so it seems pretty low to me anyway. But at some time, those interest rates will go up. Right now, FHA and VA loans can be assumable. So as interest rates go up, if someone needs to move, that house with that assumable 3% loan can easily have an advantage to another house that's at a higher loan. And you need to talk to your lender about that assumable loan so they can give you all the ins and outs.
Meth in the news right now, and if it's a meth house, it needs what?
Well, a house that has had meth in it, it's basically, if they have cooked the meth in the house and everything, that house will probably have to be stripped down to the studs of the house. Meth is absorbed into the sheetrock, and that can continue to provide problems for months, years, and beyond. Especially, and this was one of the classes I took on Sunday, it's especially susceptible to children. So we have to be very careful on a house that's had meth in it when it's restored.
And finally, fish smell in a house.
Well, this is one that we found years ago. It's a unique situation. Let's say someday you wake up and you're in one of your bedrooms and it smells like fish. Haven't been any fish in it or anything. There's a unique thing that can happen with some light fixtures. Once they start to fail, they will start to emit a smell that's just like fish odor. We had the electrician come in. He put in a new light, and there was no more fish odor in the house. That's a very unique situation.
I feel like I'm in class. I just learned something new.
I think we ought to get 2 hours credit just for this. I'd have my 24 if I did. So,
I agree
Doug
with you.
Nelson, appreciate it. You had a lot of people that take the class. You make a difference. And for the people out there that are saying, why do you need an update as far as your license? These are just a few of the reasons.
Just very few reasons.
All right.
Of the reasons.
Doug, Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
One of these days we'll graduate.
There you go.